the beginning of this year that I would be so interested in seeing a movie about a robot that learns how to live in the woods, I would have never believed you. But here we are on September 27th, and today is the release day of The Wild Robot. Now, just gonna say this out of the gate, it is a great movie, and I definitely recommend watching it if you're into like this very technical stuff. Like if you're into like imaginative stories, this is definitely a movie for you. So I'm gonna briefly talk about this movie, what I like about it, what I don't like about it, and I think it goes without saying that. So to start things off, the animation is stellar. This is probably the best animated movie, like visual-wise, I've seen this year. Second behind that is probably Inside Out 2, which also looked pretty good. But to be fair, that's Pixar. They always had like amazing visuals throughout their entire history. And DreamWorks has had some good visual movies over their history, but nothing on the level of this. This is quite possibly one of DreamWorks' best looking movies probably ever. Also, the story itself was very charming. I like that Roz was able to call the woods her home along with all of these animals, and I love that she was able to, in the beginning she was not accepted, but as time went on she became one of them. She became a creature of the wild, and I love that. Also, the soundtrack was it was not subpar in the slightest, actually. It was actually not too bad. I mean, once again, I took Mahad to see this with me, and she thought it was amazing. She thought it was actually perfect, and she praised the soundtrack. Like, I remember she looked for the soundtrack, and she downloaded every song immediately after we walked out of the theater. That's how much she loved the soundtrack. When it comes to like the pop numbers with vocals or just the regular orchestral soundtrack, I think it definitely adds to the movie. I mean, this movie was based on a novel of the same name, and even though it was the plot of this is ripped from a novel, I think even for some people like me who have never read the novel, this is definitely one of those movies where it makes me want to read it. I've never said that about any movie before, because the last time I remember being this positive about an adaptation is the movie based on the novel Wonder, which came out back in 2017. Because I read the book before I watched the movie, and I loved the book, and then I also loved the movie because it adapted it so well. But in terms of The Wild Robot, I've never read the book in my life, but knowing how well the movie turned out, I'm assuming that the book is of the same quality. But in terms of the quality of this film itself, it was just positive all the way around. Yeah, look at those fireworks go off. Yeah, that's basically how Maha felt when she watched the movie. She gave it, I think, a 10 out of 10, which she also gave Inside Out. But as for me, I don't know. I want to give this a 9, but I'm a bit of a harsh critic. Not that harsh, but I have my moments of kindness and my moments of harshness when I have to. For some reason, for the Garfield movie, I went into kind mode and I gave that movie a 4 out of 10, which I instantly regret. Looking back on it now, I would have loved to give that movie probably a 3 or 2 out of 10, but not in the case of this movie. I'd probably give this movie an 8.5. I think it was pretty solid all the way around. And if you want to watch this movie, please feel free to do so. It's getting high reviews everywhere right now, so I don't think you're gonna waste your money if you decide to watch the Wild Robot in theaters. So yeah, those are my thoughts on the movie. I loved it, and I would not be mad if DreamWorks adapted the other books, because I think the author of The Wild Robot also wrote multiple books, if I'm not mistaken. If he did, then I would love to see DreamWorks adapt those books. Whether or not they are sequels to The Wild Robot, I don't really care. I would love to see more novel adaptations come to life in animation form. I think it's a very interesting idea. But if those books are not related to The Wild Robot, then it's all right. If they are sequels to The Wild Robot, though, oh my god, that would make a lot of potential, not just because of this movie's success, like critically, but also because of how many callbacks they could do if the same characters from this first novel and this first film appear in the later books as well. I think that's golden, but I'm not sure. I have not read the books from the author. That might be a story for another day, though. I love The Wild Robot, and if you guys are looking to spend a good 90 to 100 minutes, you're probably looking for something that will get you like a bit inspired. Maybe you want to get a little bit emotional. I think that this is the movie for you, especially for an animation nerd like myself. So yeah, The Wild Robot is a great movie. Peace.